Okay, this is episode 110, the season finale. It's called Marco. And I'm Peter Gould, the co-creator and executive producer of Better Call Saul. And I wrote and directed this episode.
Hey, everybody, this is Vince Gilligan, co-creator of Better Call Saul.
Hi, it's Bob Odenkirk. I played Jimmy McGill.
Michael McKean, I play Chuck McGill.
Diane Mercer, I'm one of the producers.
I'm Thomas Golubic, the music supervisor.
I'm Chris McCaleb. I co-edited this episode with Kelly Dixon.
In fact, you edited this very scene.
I sure did.
Nice job, Chris.
Look at him, cut that film.
And this little coin trick was something that our script coordinator, Micah Craddy, found for us. And he made it look really easy.
Yeah, he did it for us in the room, right?
Yes, he did. He did. And then
And
Mel
it always worked.
And I'm so sorry Mel's not here. I hope he won't mind my saying that it wasn't as easy for Mel as it was for Micah.
I think it's the altitude. You're a mile up in Albuquerque. I think it has something to do with the atmosphere.
We're gonna say that.
Yeah.
But you got to lick your finger. That's the key.
That is part of the key.
Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, he didn't lick his finger.
He used the moisture from the beer bottle.
It's very dry in Albuquerque.
It really is.
How did they find that shirt?
Bob's shirt?
Yeah,
Good
that
question.
shirt is incredible.
How did they find my old hair?
Well, they both came from the drapes of a Holiday Inn.
So Bob, what do you think
was
when you're
my
playing Jimmy Younger? What are you thinking about? Is there anything that you do differently?
Just let my hyperness run free. And my natural hyper energy, driven energy. Yeah, you know. I pray for the good CGI.
I'll tell you, I remember when I knew that there was Slippin' Jimmy was a different guy was when we did a hair test that you shot in Albuquerque, and we watched it you had the long wig, this wig, and suddenly you just had this. You walked in and you had this different attitude. You were jazzier. Your shoulders moved more.
A little bit
kind
more
of bounced.
crazy energy.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's look, I was young once. I actually did have.
I remember
that. I actually did have that hair. That was my hair.
Wow.
Essentially.
Wow, that's great.
I'm from Chicago, and I have a great college ID with that very hairstyle. I should show it to you.
Oh,
guys.
I want to see that.
We can
It's
include it as an
I
extra.
look like a con for sure.
Hey, Diane, do you want to talk about with this flashback look?
Oh, yeah, this is, we're using this bleach bypass look that actually was pitched by Terry McDonough on episode 3 when we did our first flashback. So we've kind of changed it a little bit depending on the scene. And this bar scene is obviously very contrasty and dark, but this kind of bluish bleach bypass look was kind of what the storytelling,
and Ted,
device.
our colorist, created
And
it.
Ted Brady, our colorist, worked on that with Arthur Albert, the DP, and you guys, obviously, all of us in the room together kind of figuring that stuff out.
Look, this shot, you guys shot this with the Phantom, right? The super high-speed camera?
That's right. Yeah, we had the Phantom for this episode, and we made lots of use of it.
And hats off to Jordan
Sloven
for doing the focus pull on
Yes.
that, which was very tricky to do.
It was, and it's timed perfectly. Now here we are in the present day.
That is a nice shot. I like that shot.
Super. What lens do you suppose that was?
Was the one on the camera?
Out the front, right? Shoots right out the front. It's great.
We decided to use the lens on the front for this episode only.
You know what's fun about this location is it's within easy walking distance of a warehouse. This is on the northwest side of Albuquerque, and it's within easy walking distance of a warehouse in which we shot the very first pilot episode of Breaking Bad.
Really?
Yeah, It's kind of fun.
In a warehouse, not a studio.
Because this was before. Well, actually, Q Studios are home for pretty much all of Breaking Bad, and Better Call Saul was just being completed at that point, and I think it was booked out for that first one.
Oh, I thought we were the first. I thought we were the first ones into Q.
No, I'm sorry, you're right. It was just the finishing touches were being put on it, but it wasn't open yet. That's what it was.
So did you have? Could you hear the rain in the warehouse when it rained?
Yeah, and I heard birds. I kicked everybody out at one point. We're doing the hand job scene, and I kicked everybody out because I thought the crew was making noise. It turned out it was birds up in the rafters. It felt really bad.
You can get those recordings now of distressed birds, and you play it in a little speaker, and the birds avoid it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's birds in trouble down there. I'm not going down there. They actually have them to keep them from shitting on people's cars.
Oh,
they scare them away.
This is
man.
better than the fake owl. The
Oh
plastic
yeah,
owl.
but it's the sonic equivalent
Yes.
of the fake owl. Exactly right.
I'm gonna go get one of those. I got shit all over my car.
One of the things I love, Bob, about these two sequences back to back is that you see Slippin' Jimmy, and he's got so much bounce, and then here we come to Jimmy
Yeah.
McGill, and he, after what happened with Chuck in the last episode, he is colorless, he's drained, he's detached from himself.
You're saying he's a grown-up now.
Oh, is that what being a grown-up is?
Well, I mean,
then I don't want to be a grown-up.
It can look like that.
It can.
I'm not saying that's what it is.
That's right. He's burdened.
Patrick Fabian.
Patrick Fabian.
Yeah,
Patrick Fabian.
As
Again,
are you, my friend.
Again, playing this character with kind of a positive energy of putting forth this positive energy that's also putting a damper on everybody around him. But weirdly, like, kind of keeps it positive somehow. His put downs, or
he's not all over the place. He's one thing. He's
That's right.
legitimate guy, and according to his own lights, and he is.
he's the kind of guy who fucks you over and then looks at you with a smile and goes, "Fair's where we end up."
I love his reaction. I know we went past it. His reaction when you say, bring up the pig fucker thing again.
Yeah.
And he just kind of swallows his reaction. He just
Yeah,
takes a little
because-
swallow.
He goes, well, yeah, I love that.
Like, that wasn't my favorite. It wasn't my favorite moment. And I hope it doesn't
There's
define our
that wonderful
relationship.
trash can.
That's
Please
great.
let me kick it again.
What the little thing Ray's doing with her hand there?
Yes.
What the- yeah.
And she was doing that in the lobby too. She has this little shake with her foot. Like
Yeah.
she has
she does.
She has this repressed energy.
Is it the
Yeah.
cocaine? What is it?
Yeah. I love this moment because
I do too.
these they finally get to hug. That's
That's sweet.
She's got a real kind of Jean Arthur thing, doesn't she?
Yeah,
does.
You know
Jean
what I mean?
Arthur was so underrated. She's
Oh,
so
she
great.
was fabulous.
And Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. She was
yeah.
just lovely. And you're right.
And
Ray,
Shane, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah.
Playing totally against type. She's
yeah.
awesome in that.
and Ray does have that kind of thing.
and she has that crisp diction that is from those 30s movies. Oh, hey, written and directed by Peter Gould. That's good.
Nice
We
job,
didn't want to
Peter.
miss that, Peter.
Run it back.
Yes.
Oh, here it comes.
Oh,
And
God.
here comes
This scene is so fucking
Long. I kept thinking, this guy, that nobody but him is talking now for 6 pages. And I'm just awash with admiration.
She's so great.
This is
These
so
ladies, these folks, the background
Yeah.
here, they're in a number of scenes throughout the whole season.
Yeah,
We kind of got to know them a little bit, and great group.
yeah.
Now, did anyone get how you guys were here for like 12 hours straight, something like that, 13 hours?
Yes, it was a long day for them, but they were well managed by Peter.
And Bob also started. I started off the day with this very earnest little talk about how they were an important part of
love
the
this
scene.
lady.
And then Bob came in and just was so human and so funny, and reminded them that he hadn't actually crapped for anybody's roof. It was just pretend.
Well, it's like your mom, you want to make sure she understands. The TV isn't a documentary at all times.
Was this one day of shooting, or did it go more than one day?
No, this is one. It wasn't even a full day. We actually
Jesus,
ended
really?
up doing some of the montage. This is fascinating too. This is Kelly Dixon cut this scene.
Yeah.
That shot is actually running backwards.
Yeah.
She
She
thought
manipulated those inserts a lot.
yes.
Wow.
But they really add an agitation to the scene. She did do an amazing job with the little speed ups and change ups in those.
Yeah.
That's true.
They add a fractured kind of moment to the scene.
It's
One of the reasons where, Peter, you mentioned that you'd shot this in one and you had a take that you liked, but cutting it up with this kind of stuff, it helps fuck it up.
Yeah.
It helps you
We're
get
good
in
at
his
that.
head.
Yeah.
The sound design is also so subtle and
Yeah.
interesting.
It really is. And I hope those of you who are listening to this, when you watch the episode, you watch it on a format like a Blu-ray or whatever you've got that's got the full sound, because the sound work that our sound team did in this scene is just spectacular and very subtle also.
The plosives. Talk about, is that the
Yes.
word for them?
Yeah.
Because of course
Into the
this,
mic, yeah.
this microphone actually is not recording any sound whatsoever. This is all when he does a plosive P, that's all added. That was all added.
They didn't run real audio through this mic?
We were bummed when we found that out. I was looking for it in the ISO mics.
I'm not sure it was physically possible. It may have been blown out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it would have been.
Oh, you mean like it's more
Impossible.
of a prop than a
Yes,
real
it's
mic?
real. It's just a prop.
Okay,
Oh no, what a
gotcha.
great prop! What a
Did
great
Bob
prop it
Barker
is.
miss it?
We had to slip it out from under his
No,
bed.
that mic is awesome. You found one, right? That's a real one.
That is a real one, yeah.
They only made two.
One was buried with Gene. What's his name?
Gene Rayburn?
Gene Rayburn. Sorry.
Actually, the mic died first, and they had to. So you have to go.
They always had the prop
You have
together,
to
though.
bury your way.
I
I'm
also
not dead yet.
I have to give props to Larissa Kondrecki, who did the episode where we introduced this bingo world, because she is a bingo expert, and so I was able to study that scene from episode 7.
That's why we hired her.
And think about that's right. It's horses for courses, really. And I'm an expert on breakdowns and confusion, so this was a perfect episode for me.
Just want to.
Oh, their faces are so great.
They really do a great job in here. And Peter, you were saying the camera B operator, Phil,
That's right.
caught these great reactions as he cracks up. I mean, they're real reactions, right?
They
I mean,
are, yeah.
People
They
weren't-
are.
People weren't asked to act.
Yeah.
They just were forced to listen to me do that monologue 20 times. And they naturally responded.
Yeah, and I think that they're not stone-faced. They're subtle, but they're subtle, and that
And
was
they're really listening and really waiting.
They're really
to
listening
hear
and really
the point
waiting.
and get it back to the game.
And that's always it always freaks me out when you've got a big crowd like this, and you know that no matter how sharp you are, you can't watch every extra, and to make sure that they're all focused. And so the fact that these folks were all in the scene and they knew that, I think made a big difference.
I find when I'm directing, I can't watch more than like 2 people. If you
I
have
know.
3 or 4 people, it's
Yeah.
just like you can't keep track of everything that's going on.
And that's why I'm always tempted to do an extra safety take when I've got a big group, just because of that. I know I'm going to see things in post that I would not have seen on the day.
There's that one guy looking right down the lens.
That's right. For a second. And
Yeah, that's for a second.
then we go crying to Diane.
That's right.
Diane,
Fix
and
it,
it's,
Diane.
Diane,
We
Change his eyes.
can you fix that one extra?
Blind him.
And Diane
And we
always
do it.
can. I know you do it.
Oh,
If the folks listening knew how much invisible work was done with little things like that, I mean,
But
Diane
I-
deserves a medal.
I will say, this scene, we really didn't do any. These people were so
Yeah,
great.
they were-
We
they
didn't
were.
do any in here.
they were, and they were great. I love this was, of course, Kelly figuring out which reactions to use
I
here.
love this.
It's a delicate
It was
balance.
a very delicate balance.
When to go to them and when to stay with Jimmy.
And I remember Kelly, it was like a physical effort to cut away from Bob.
Yeah.
Because we knew we had to see these folks.
I love this lady.
Oh, she's so great.
she looks
She's
like
a
Sylvia
sweet lady,
Sidney.
too. Really sweet.
Yeah, she does a little. I'm sorry, but yeah, I did. Yeah,
It was a physical effort to cut away from this performance.
yeah. 'Cause
But
it
you
is
had to do
awesome.
it.
How
You
many
need those
days
people.
did you spend working on this scene?
This
Oh, God.
I don't think we actually want to quantify.
This
it.
episode,
the
Yeah,
editing
no,
room,
no comment.
I
Is
would-
that- is that a time?
I'll just say from my point of view, this episode is so much more complex than anything I've ever directed or
Yeah.
really
Clearly.
Oh, there's a lot of
You can't
usually
tell
we have
it,
we
but
Deceptively
it is.
complex.
Yeah.
when you watch an episode, you usually there's one or two big scenes that are very, very complex. And I felt that this episode was sort of full of those.
Yeah, you
Oh,
gave
yeah.
yourself a challenge, man.
And then, of course, we have 2 acts that are more or less a new TV show in Cicero. So that was, yes.
Yeah, it was a huge episode, huge story, kind of big and.
Oh, this is just
This is just great.
this is so great.
You know what's amazing to me? I was talking to you and Bob before we did this. I laughed till I had tears coming down my face when I first watched this. Still, I love it to this. I can watch it over and over and over again. Other people I know, like my girlfriend Holly, they don't laugh at all watching this scene because they think it's tragically sad.
Well,
And
it is.
Kelly is
It can
the
be
same-
both, right?
Kelly
I
was
know
the
it
same
is.
way.
It is. And Kelly, our editor, was the same. It was the same way. She looked at me funny as I was laughing behind her, sitting at the the Avid.
She thought she'd made a mistake. And it was that she's so with Jimmy. She's so invested that she felt bad, which is why we laugh.
And
Because
like-
we're damaged
Exactly.
people. I don't know.
And like Michael says, both work. Both are
That's
legit.
right.
Hey, here's a great tune that Mr. G found for us here.
What,
Oh, yeah.
what is this?
This is Al Cooper, Season of the
Sure.
Witch. His cover of
No,
the
no,
Donovan track.
no. This is.
This is the Season of the Witch.
This is
That's
Season
right.
of the Witch.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is.
I'm sorry. I'm
Are
sorry.
you thinking
right,
of
right.
Puck Salad Annie from?
That comes
That's
later.
the opening.
I
That's in the
wanted to
opening.
talk about that too. Tony
Joe White.
Tony Joe
Yeah,
White.
that was
Such a
fantastic.
fantastic song.
You did such a great job in that. So talk about this guy. This was.
Yeah, this is Al Cooper. He was sort of a session player who had sort of his
I know
super
Al
sessions.
Cooper,
You know
for
Al
God's
Cooper?
sake. Of course.
And this is just one of those
He wrote
covers.
this Diamond Ring
Yes.
and later started the Blues Project.
Yep.
Played with him until he was replaced by John McDuffie. How deep you want to go with this?
Wow.
We have at least 38 minutes left.
This bar originally, as written, it was not a German bar, and then we found this location, which is actually a German American club in Albuquerque.
Oh, is that what it is?
And we said instead of fighting what it is, let's play it up.
There's great German and Polish bars and
Yes.
Irish bars and that in Chicago and the Chicago area.
I was so grateful to have you to bounce the Chicago stuff off of, because I've been to Chicago probably a total of like 4 or 5 days in my life, and I love it.
It is an amazing.
Yeah, well, I met somebody from Cicero the other day, and we talked about the Cicero. She said we did a great job. I mean, I know
Good.
Cicero.
How big is Cicero? How much population would you think? 10,000?
Oh no, it's
50,000?
bigger than that. I would
100,000.
say
50,000.
50 to 70 or something. It's weird. It's Cicero feels like a neighborhood in a way that's a little bit bigger. Yeah,
How far from
than
Chicago?
a neighborhood. 15 miles.
Yeah.
I know Kelly's
It's
only.
probably even closer actually to just the city limits. It's probably like 10 miles or not even. It's near the airport too. It's near O'Hare
Oh, okay.
because there are some flights over it.
So you can tell we're getting to the end of the season because now there are a lot of hugs.
I got to tell you, Mel is so good in this episode, and he's so heartbreaking.
Mel
And he-
Rodriguez.
Mel Rodriguez, yeah, great guy. And he wanted to join us today, and unfortunately he had a situation he had to attend to, but he was sad to miss out, as are we. But if you want to hear Mel's take on this, you can hear him on the podcast. The
That's
Better Call
right.
Saul podcast.
That's right. And he talks about the accent and a lot about the character.
He
It's
cared
very
a lot about
interesting.
his accent. And
Yeah.
the weird thing is, he was like, I don't want to do it too strong. And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, the real Chicago and some of the South Siders and all.
Lord. Yeah.
It's so strong. It's
Need
like they're from
subtitles.
another country. It's like, what? I
didn't
used to
know-
work at a bike shop on the north side, and it was a south side bike shop that had opened a north side location. So they had their south side workers, Cozy's bike shop in Chicago. And these guys said tree, turdy tree, and they said tree, but hard, tree.
That's
And it was like, yeah, it's a pretty strong accent in just a small neighborhood, really.
You
I
can
bet,
just see
I bet it's vanishing, though. I bet all dialects are vanishing.
I think
because
it
of TV.
probably is, yeah.
Yeah. What was that old thing? They said everyone's going to sound like Tom Brokaw at a certain point.
No, without the speech impediment. No. We're not going to lose our L's all of a sudden. That's a hell of a thing to look forward to.
Then
Old style. That's a real. That's
Oh, yeah.
old style.
I kept
that's right.
looking on the label for the kid peeing under the bridge, but it's not on the bottle label. It's on the can or the old can.
There's a kid.
Well,
there's a-
that's what you tell each
the
other
legend.
when you're 17.
This was for me anyway. This is a daring scene to have two guys sit here and talk. And I think I always picture the audience wondering where the fuck is this going? These two guys are sitting down and reminiscing, and I like them both. But where is this headed?
Yeah.
And
It's super
Yeah, I know.
complicated that it's
This
a
bartender
full
did a
act.
nice job, by
that's
the way.
essentially 2 scenes.
Yeah.
that's right.
Long
And you
scenes.
cut this act.
I did.
and you did a spectacular
You did a great
job.
job.
Oh, thanks.
Great job, Chris.
There's so much also about how much they love and kind of hurt each other in the scene. There's so much subtlety in how they kind of interact, and you see them being old friends, but you see also that there's a lot of pain.
That's a very good point. I
Yeah.
love the way you two play this, Bob. I love when he says you were here and you didn't look me up. He you can see the hurt, but also him trying to hide it simultaneously. It's just very subtle, nicely done.
It's a beautiful shot.
And the slight dig on the car, which is so sweet and
yeah.
heartbreaking.
Yeah. My brother had a Cutlass.
Did he?
Yeah, he had a great Cutlass.
It's a beautiful car.
That's kind of cool.
The bartender is so good. I've watched the scene so many times doing music, and his placement is so interesting. He just seems to really know, really where to be, and the way you guys covered it.
So real.
So real. You
Watching
never question
people
him.
who are doing a job on screen, who really look like they're doing the job.
Completely committed.
What's great is you don't even notice it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you go, wait a minute, this guy's a real bartender.
Yeah.
It's Ricky.
Because you never doubted it.
Ricky Stafari
He is,
in this
and he
this
is.
scene, and
He
he's
is a bartender.
and he's a Chicago bartender
yeah.
and an actor.
Very nice job. Very
And,
natural.
and both he and Keith Kupfer, who plays the sucker in this scene, they're both real Chicago actors. And
How about Myra?
she also was from Chicago, and we it was our brilliant casting people.
Myrna. I'm sorry.
Myrna, that's right.
And
Myrna.
James.
And James Myrna. Our brilliant casting people put out the word in Chicago, and we got to cast these folks.
We got to talk about this crazy con. It's the funniest thing ever. Is to convince somebody that the head on a coin.
We
is
were
facing
so
the
proud of
camera.
ourselves in the writer's room. that
I
day.
love it so much, and I can't believe you cooked it up. I thought it was a real con.
This was cooked up. It was
We earned our pay that day.
yes. And our backs were starting to get a little bit against the wall at that point. As I recall, the writer's room was underpopulated. A lot of people were off writing and shooting. And so it was just a few of us, and time was running short.
And suffice it to say, this con would not work now in 2015.
That's right.
But this show, of course, takes place in 2002, before the era of smartphones.
That's right.
I mean, it's just
It's funny when we watched this. Naomi was like, "Don't they have phones?" And I was
Yeah,
like,
but you can't
"No,
send a
not
picture.
really, no."
And in 2002, you weren't sending a picture of hey, would you check this out for me? Would you run
right.
this? By
Or-
me?"
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
now
you
you
can
can write
just
a
Google it immediately.
Yeah, you just Google it. Yeah,
This guy did do a good job.
But still, I have to say, people still are falling for all kinds of crazy cons that you can learn about on
validate
Google.
very
You can
quickly.
Google
Yeah,
something
that's true.
and find out, and there are still people flushing hundreds of thousands of dollars. I love this story, Bob.
trickle down economics. All right,
And also
sorry. It is a great story, and not only that, it's a great con to run if you just want to have fun. Even if it doesn't work out, you're going to have a blast.
That's
doing it.
right. And this is one act later, you have another enormous monologue.
Yes.
This one, it's a different monologue, but it is another monologue.
It is, but these are
What were
great
you thinking?
stories to tell. I love telling the guy to shut up. That's the greatest part of the con. It's like, I don't need your fucking help. It's such the human manipulation is everything.
Yeah.
The story is fun and clever and, surprising, but it's all about this guy doubting me, him overhearing it, me telling him to shut up. Now it's really a con, and he's really smart because he's really caught me. So later, the turn is faster, for him. So now we get this great phone call.
And I love
Love the way this is
how you
played.
cut this, Chris. Also,
Yeah,
It's just-
beautifully cut. I love what Mel does coming up here with his hands.
Yeah,
Kind of smacks them together.
that's right.
I just sort of like I don't know. I don't know. Something
Thinking about
that.
it.
Yeah, something about that I
A little
love.
Oliver Hardy beat there, really.
Yeah, it is kind of, isn't it?
Manipulating thoughts.
Peter, I think I said to you, reading it, I felt like I would never be tricked by this. This is so ridiculous.
No,
to
but
me.
you're
And then
not.
the way you're
You're tricked
pulled
by
it off,
this.
I'm so tricked by it. Yeah, they really. I get why that
Yeah,
guy.
it is.
You know that
Nice.
movies don't actually move, right? you know that is a trick.
But it has nothing to do with the story I tell in a weird way. It has
Yeah.
everything to do with
The cell.
a guy
Yeah.
doubting me, calling somebody in front of him, secret information he doesn't share.
Choosing when he turns.
And Keith is so key to this. You know, he doesn't say a lot, but those little those reactions guide
He's
you
sitting
through
there
it.
being the smartest guy in the room,
That's
as
right,
far as he knows.
Yes.
As far as he is
That's
very
right.
sure of.
Right.
Yes.
Then this is fun. This is fun. You wonder, who is he calling?
Can you still call as we record this? Is there still a time and temperature?
I'm
phone
sure
number?
there is.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
There
The
is.
world will end when they kill that service.
You used to be able to you dial the word nervous. That's how you got it in L.A.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, that's how you got the time and temperature in L.A. Dial nervous.
Nervous.
Come on, they've got to still
That
have
can't be true.
That's interesting.
It's true.
Ah, that's cool.
Didn't need an area code just because we had
Nervous.
to do that.
Listen, I gotta go. All right. Thank you. I owe you one.
Yeah, this was.
It's weird
This
to
was-
hear the real voice because we had the editorial players in there for so long.
That's
Alicia's
right.
voice was there for so
Oh
long.
That's
yeah,
true.
Alicia Weaver. But is that a real? I mean, is that
No,
is that
that's-
the
That's a loop group,
loop group?
person.
Okay, one of
yeah.
our loop group folks.
And this was, for me anyway, this was a fascinating scene to try to shoot and rehearse because it's like a play. It's such a long sequence, and this was one of the. I was so happy that we were able to rehearse this
Yeah.
a couple of days earlier.
Nice.
It
Yeah.
just made. I am such a believer in rehearsal.
Yeah. There were a lot of scenes in the course of the season that were helped by having the time to rehearse.
Not bad. Which is tough to do on a TV schedule, but
Very hard.
always worth it, I would think.
Always.
Yeah. How many days were you guys in this bar total for the whole episode?
2.
Really? All of this
Wow.
in 2 days?
This is 2
including
days,
the
yeah.
teaser?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
2 days and a couple hours rehearsal. One of the earlier
That
days.
is impressive.
Long days too. I remember seeing the time codes, like what time it was at night or in the tomorrow morning. When
Yeah,
we'll
well-
finish shooting.
All the posters and all that, that's all dressing, right? None of that.
No. A lot of those are the.
Were
Some
all
of
the
it's
real
dressed.
places?
Oh, yeah,
it's a combination.
Nice.
And Tony, but that wall that you're looking to the right here is all fake. There was another confusing area there.
Oh.
But this is there. That's
It's the big one.
So, Mr. G, what music we listening
Oh,
to?
yeah. Henry Mancini and his orchestra. Bonsai Pipeline. This is a 1963 track.
From a movie?
No, actually, it was one of
Standalone?
his sort of standalone big band jazz tracks in the 60s.
You always find us great music, my friend.
Yes, you
This
do.
one was Garrett from our team who found this one. We swung at this so many different ways. Then we had a fifth of Beethoven in here. What else did we do? We had Herbie
Davis.
Hancock. Yeah, Chameleon with Miles Davis.
Miles
and stuff.
Davis was the one I was fixated on for a long time, but it was so abstract and laid back. This gives it a structure.
And a little more energy.
Yeah, and more energy. Absolutely.
Kelly originally cut this to. This is all Kelly, by the way. He cut this to that Miles Davis track, and then when this song came in, it was like an aha.
Yes.
Does
That's
she
true.
not want to pull her hair out and say, oh my God, I got to recut things now?
She didn't.
She did.
Oh.
She didn't.
Although this sequence, you can't tell seeing it how complicated it is.
Oh, yes,
I mean,
you
it
can.
seems
In a
it
good
seems
way.
so
It looks effortless, yeah,
And
but
we had
it's
to have a
not.
special meeting with our facility,
Yeah.
and they just had their hands and their heads in their hands.
Diane, do you
And
want to
all
talk
of
about
these signs, the art department designed them, and then we built them in CG and kind of layered everything on top of it. That was the last piece to come into it, actually.
I love this con. Is this a real con, guys, or you cooked it?
This is a real con that's going on somewhere right now. It's
called the
the
Tar
Money
Oh, sure,
Con,
yeah.
yes, yeah. And
Really?
he's gonna,
Yeah.
this guy's going to put up a lot of money to get a lot of
Ruined
oblong
$100
pieces of
bills.
black
Discount
paper.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
And of course, these are our two wonderful waitresses,
Yeah.
Amy and Jessica.
So how hard was this, Dan?
This is probably one of the hardest things I've ever put together in my career. This was very, very hard.
And when you say put together, because obviously
Just all the
Peter
pieces
directed it and
and,
Kelly edited it,
yeah.
but what do you have to do here?
Well, because all of these pieces had to be color timed first, and then all the layers had to be put back together,
That's
and then we did
11
another
layers
pass
of
of
video.
color. There's speed effects, there's compositing, right here with the money, all that had to be rotoscoped and layered, and
Oh, that's so cool.
It
So
was
that
beautiful.
shot or
There's
how
hundreds
do
of
you-
man hours of work.
that's
Thousands of
our
man
high
hours.
speed camera.
hundreds, probably thousands when you count Kelly's work, because Kelly.
It's
And
she
obviously
spent a
shooting it
very
too.
long time.
Yeah.
Everything had to be rendered because everything had an effect. So if you made a one frame change, it took
Yeah,
10 minutes
10
before
minutes
you could
to
look
render
at
it.
it.
Yeah, I think I sat with Kelly one Saturday, and we spent all day and probably changed about 5 seconds of material. It was like animating it.
Yes, it was
It
very
really
much
was.
like
It was,
animation.
and it was fun, and we really wanted to do it's based on or inspired by the work of Slavoj Vorkapik.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And the idea was, when we realized we were going to do a montage, all I could think of was, I can't do anything to touch what Michelle McLaren did in episode 2. I don't want to try to compete with that.
Well, this is a
Let's
different
do
thing.
something different.
Yeah.
And this, by the way, I just
These
want to
two
call
young ladies are great.
out Amy Davidson and Jessica Osborne. These two were just wonderful, brought a lot of energy. And Jessica, this little look she gives at the end was her idea.
Yeah,
and
it's
I think
nice.
she's so funny.
It's really good.
When
She had a great time. It doesn't matter that they lied. She had a really nice
I know.
night.
Right.
We have this one here.
Yeah, mommy.
Yes,
Fantastic.
it takes some of the curse off the thing.
Yeah.
So it's and of course there's the callback to Breaking Bad at the very beginning.
With the film, yeah.
Oh, people love that. You know that, right?
I-
Kevin Costner.
The Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
One of the fans just tweeted that he wants us to do an episode where Kevin Costner gets arrested because he's mistaken for Saul Goodman. That's a good idea. Which I think is a great idea.
Yeah,
Oh, the
And
air
this is a
mattress.
Tony Fanning set, which you actually did see in episode 4. And it's one of the oddities of this season that this scene and the scene in episode 4 were shot, I think, possibly on successive days. So we were. It was a little bit of an odd combination. Colin came in and he and I were
Yes.
switching off directing for a couple of days.
right. Because thank goodness episode 4 came in so short, 8 minutes short, that we had to add something new, and that's when we invented Marco at the
That's
end of the
right.
season. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had Marco if not for the fact that one episode was too short to air on television.
And
Wow.
it's the glory of the fact that they gave us so much, that we're given the time to do this the way we do, because a lot of shows would have aired episode 4 long before episode
Yeah.
10 was thought about.
Yeah, absolutely. We're very lucky the lead time we have. You guys are so good together, Bob. You two are
Well-
just like you've known each other your whole lives.
Oh, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mel is the best.
What do you do in a situation like this? You try to get talking to the person.
Most of the time when actors come into town, I'll call them and we'll meet up as soon as they come to town. Like,
Wow.
first of all, they don't know where to go, so you can like tell them how to get
Yeah.
to restaurants and things,
That's
you know.
cool.
And
You pick 'em up
and
at
then
the
we
airport?
also did rehearsals on weekends, like on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon if they were in town. We would get together and just run the whole scene a couple times, you know, talk our way through it. But yeah, that's all. You just, it's good to know people and have a good working relationship before you hit the set. I mean, we don't have a lot of time to shoot, so you kind of got to show up ready to go.
It makes such a difference.
And, you can't do this without doing that stuff. You can't do it. You got to show up and hit it pretty quick. I
Nothing.
mean, luckily we had that great, and I never stop appreciating it and hope that we get a little bit more. That the time we took on the first episode of this season.
Yeah.
The extra days and the rehearsal, especially with me and you.
Yeah.
And still, we hit it pretty quick, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, you
But
guys.
we needed that time. I mean, this is a complicated relationship, and you're just meeting these characters, and so prepping is everything.
I love how you guys calibrate the emotional relationships between each other and then also between you and Marco. You know, it's so consistent. You know exactly who has sort of the leader role and who has the follower role.
And we in this scene we find out that Jimmy really hasn't cut the ties with Chuck. You know, even after everything that happened in episode 9.
But you can't do that. You know, you're still related.
Absolutely.
Depends on your family, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I suppose.
But I agree with Michael. You can hate a family member, but they're still your blood. I mean, it's very. I mean, there are some things I suppose are unforgivable, but I mean, these two, they're still blood. They still love each other.
I'm fascinated by that. I grew up in a family where there was always the threat that people would never talk to each other or see each other again. That was constantly banned, and it happened too. It happened when I was a kid that there were certain family members I never saw again, but that doesn't mean that they weren't important to me. So
I feel like even when people do that thing, cut each other out, they still think about each other.
True.
Of course,
It's true.
every day.
You're right. They have imaginary arguments with people they haven't seen in 10 years. People do it all the time.
And that's fascinating.
Can't.
Also, I'm not sure how much of his reasoning here is an excuse. I mean, yeah, he is thinking about Chuck, and he's got to have some worry in him. And he also is thinking about his clients. He does like those old people. But then there's also just, I can't do what? I'm just going to keep doing
You're
this
gonna
shit?
keep being-
He's living in a basement apartment, you know?
So that looks like a pretty busy week that they had there.
Yeah.
Just judging by
It does.
this incredibly expensive monologue, it looks like they're working pretty hard.
It does. And but I think the thing that's true, and I think that makes sense, is that con artists don't get rich. Not this kind of. Maybe if you're in the banking industry.
If you're selling the Eiffel Tower,
they usually end up, day to day. And I love this little. I have to say, I love this little moment with Mel. This was one of the things.
It's really great and really well played.
I was so excited about this, getting a little bit of air with him by himself.
It's really good.
Reminds me of that moment when he realizes that he's going to go do the con in the bar. He just has this little smile. He just realized this is what he's been hoping for.
I love the smile here when he hears the wolf call.
Yeah.
That's sweet. He's so likable.
He is. He loves Jimmy so much. We all want someone
I mean, he
who's.
has, 6 scenes in the whole series?
Yeah.
And you care about him so much.
Yes, you do.
And that was scary to us. It's
Oh,
very
yeah.
dangerous to introduce a character.
We were afraid you wouldn't like the guy enough. You wouldn't care about him enough. You're right.
Yeah, we didn't, and it wasn't really until we saw Mel, or at least I'll speak for myself, until I saw Mel and Bob on the set, and I said, "Wait, these two guys have a relationship that matters."
Now the sadness is, how do we? He's expired.
You
We
can
can't-
only, you can flash him back.
That is true. I don't think we haven't talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about it now.
Exactly.
He's gotten his old shirts out of the closet.
Did you did any of these sneak off the wardrobe truck and wind up in your personal wardrobe?
I've done that. I've taken I'm never going to see a shirt like this again, taken it home, and I'm never going to wear that. Why do I have it?
Halloween.
It is kind of like the old Steve Martin, the Wild and Crazy Guys shirt.
Yeah.
Like one of those ones they would wear.
And those shirts are made out of oil.
Yeah, right.
They can burn. They can burn.
It was on fire when I bought it.
I'll tell you something that was very interesting for me was shooting this scene and then being on the set the next night when Colin shot the scene from 104.
So this
Oh,
was
yeah,
shot.
This was
shot
shot
this
the
one
night
first.
before.
Oh my
This was
God.
shot the night before the Colin, and part of me was just interested to see. I would have rather had it go the other way because then I could have seen what Colin did.
They go together great.
Yeah,
though.
they do. No, it was really interesting to do. It was a scene that I was so worried about because you want to get the emotion and the twist to it, but not overplay it. And Bob, you and Mel both do such a beautiful job here.
And Dave's score is
Yeah,
nice.
Dave's score,
great
that's
piece of
right.
music
Good
here.
point.
And this is
Dave's
as
score's
emotional.
wonderful.
This is as emotional as Dave's score really gets
Yeah.
all season long.
Yeah, Dave Porter's our wonderful
That's right.
composer, and this is a beautiful piece of music. Yeah. I don't mean beautiful as in, I mean beautiful as in perfect for
Yes.
the moment, and,
Yeah.
and enough emotion, but not too much that
Yeah.
it gets mawkish. Or,
Yep.
you know.
And it's a fine line. And
Mel's sweetness on his face.
He plays dead good here coming up.
Oh, yeah.
You smack him in the face and he doesn't move. It's good.
It was scary to watch in dailies, actually, to see him die because there's such a reality to it.
Yeah.
That's the magic of performance.
I love the way you play this.
Oh,
Bob.
yeah.
You're really freaking out here. It's just, I mean, just great.
I remember you were a little worried that people were going to come running from the surrounding buildings because you were yelling so loud.
Yeah, I don't want to wake anybody.
God, this was like 3 in the morning or something like that.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
Probably.
it was like 2.
It was-
Oh, no, it was like 3. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really
We had a
late.
couple of all-nighters.
Love doing this scene and this guy with the giant ears.
This guy's great.
So good, this guy. Yeah.
Diane,
he's
talk
great.
about how the top of the shot here is married to a
Oh
video
yeah,
effect.
we had actually. You'll see coming up. We had an extra. I'm not sure how it happened, but the extra crossed in that scene there.
and that first wide
And then
shot.
we saw him again. You'll see him again. It's the guy carrying the bag. He's got like this like baseball shirt with the different colored sleeves. He's gonna walk by in a minute, but he also walks by in that other shot. So it was easier to take him out of the first one than the second one. So.
It
It's
was funny
magic
because
you
in
do.
editorial, the two halves didn't really go together, and they were juddering, and it always looked
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
the church.
I
It
did
looked
the best I could
It looked like
within
the
the
church
avid,
was gonna
There you
fly
go.
away.
That's him right there.
And this gentleman is Mark Jeffrey Miller, who was just
He did a great job.
perfect. Usually it's about being open to what the actors bring, and you always want to do that. But this guy embodied exactly what I pictured when I wrote this little scene.
So great.
He really was great. And I remember we were all so amused by the idea of the guy at the funeral saying, "Well, you get a couple bucks for that."
It's like everybody in this fictional Cicero is on the.
Yeah.
That's right. They're all.
Grimy
It's on the
Drew.
tape here, on the tape,
All of
whatever
life
word.
is just got price tags on it. They look at the world, they wake up and look at their toast and see a 2-cent price tag.
And we got very lucky with the weather too, because it was overcast
Yeah.
outside the church, and then you get the hard sunlight in Albuquerque.
Yeah, very lucky. And that church is awesome. Chicago-y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does it need to be mentioned again? This church it's all in Albuquerque.
This is all Albuquerque.
I mean, it's
yeah.
supposed to be Chicago. but-
I sincerely wish that we had gone to Chicago to shoot, but it
But
just
no, that was great.
it
You
wasn't
can't-
it wasn't necessary, fortunately.
and you guys wetted down the sidewalk and whatnot. That was a good
Absolutely.
touch. Warner Hanlon and his crew probably took good care of that.
And I tried to. I was thinking about trying to keep this part compositionally a little flatter, because in the alley we were with the short lenses and the things coming towards the camera, and this all feels a little bit flattened out, which
You mean
is
longer lenses? so
longer
the
lenses and-
Background's a little out of focus.
Yeah, the background's a little out of focus, and also kind of flatter, a little bit flatter in a couple places. So it was just to give it a little variation, emotional variation.
That's cool.
But I love the way you guys play this.
Yeah.
And of course, with this wonderful cast, Ray is out in the middle of the street on an apple box doing the conversation with you.
Yes.
And it's one of the
On
things
Bob's side.
On Bob's side, and then you came down early to be with her on her side, and it makes the conversation so much more real.
Well, the body language chemistry.
Yeah,
too,
yeah, yeah.
Like who they're talking to on the phone.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys are great. A lot of
We're-
actors
we're
on
a
shows
good
don't
team.
do that. Yeah, you guys are a good team.
That's exactly right.
So Ray's really, in other words, really standing just off,
That's right.
off camera here talking to
That's
Bob.
right. And she always is in a good mood,
Isn't she?
which is
And a
Ray-
little nervous.
Yeah.
wonderful.
Amazing. She is
She's a
amazing.
sweetie.
She is.
That's a nice shot.
Beautiful.
I like that shot.
That was.
Of course, that has to be a period hearse.
That's right.
So Dennis Milliken and his crew have to find that. Oh, here's the
here's
scene.
the man.
Seen so much.
I love this scene.
Masterclass in passive aggressive energy.
A little pinch of lonely, do you think?
I think so. How do you think Chuck's feeling now?
Good question.
Generally tasteless. Fuji's should be in season. It's not a major issue, but
This is Brandon Hampton, who is
Oh, great job.
rushing to please his boss here.
You don't even need sound in this scene, just the faces and
I
the
love the way
body
you play this,
expression.
Michael.
Yeah, there was a longer cut that I loved too. That would just ended up. But you did so many great little improvs at the very end. It was painful not to use them all.
And I love how he switches his energy when he sees Jimmy. Different guy.
Yeah.
And of course, Chuck uses his full Ernesto,
Yeah.
and Jimmy calls him Ernie.
Yeah.
Hey, Ernie.
That's a nice touch.
Doing, man? Good. So Howard's got you looking after Chuck, huh?
Yeah, it's a few extra bucks, you
I
know.
think it's been said before, this house is also within easy walking distance of Jesse Pinkman's old house. You could practically throw a rock from one to the other.
Well, that makes the tour easy, doesn't it?
Well, maybe there's a little bit of a story tie-in. Maybe Jesse has a really loud party. And it really gets on Chuck's.
Jesse is 11.
That's true.
I remember that.
That's a
He was
good
an early
point.
starter. He started partying very young.
That's right. I love how you play this, Michael.
Yes.
This is so nice.
Yeah.
He's a proud man who I don't think it's fear of electricity here that keeps you in the house. I think
No,
it's pride.
but I do also think that I've been chased inside by events.
Yes.
And that it's not so much the current, it's what the current's out there within. It's life begins to feel like an electromagnetic field. All of it.
Well put.
I'll be there.
And it's such an efficient use of Mike.
Yeah.
You get so much out of him.
I like that first shot you did up from behind. That's a nice introduction to him.
He's our guy. I mean, it's
I love this cue too, Dave.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
great.
great.
This
What
has
is this?
This is Dave Porter.
Porter.
Dave Porter.
This
is
little
the score.
bit here has a little Lalo Schifrin-y kind of
Yeah.
feel
And
to it.
A little bit of moving on, a little bit of melancholy.
Yeah.
Very tricky moment.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's probably Howard's car, isn't it?
Yeah, the Jaguar. I like you shot your compositions here in this, Peter.
Oh, and the moment of decision is so beautiful.
And I think we like bold compositions. We like to do things that have.
I love that shot
Yeah, the ring.
and this shot.
It's so beautiful.
Someone was saying it looks like he's on the coin, like he sees Kennedy facing
yeah.
Oh,
facing
really?
east. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
I love our fans. They come
I
up
would
with
claim
stuff.
that, Peter. I say you got that.
They're so
You
much
got it.
smart. They're so much smarter than we are.
Facing east,
That's
facing
right.
death.
Facing east,
Yeah.
facing death. That's right.
Oh, that's
and now
man.
now he's going the other way.
We need them
So
on the writers.
there
in
we
the
do.
writers'
We
room.
do.
Careful with your
I love you guys. You guys are so good
It's a
together.
dynamic
Yeah.
duo now.
Yes. Yes. He's the only one you can say this to.
That's true. Only
Yeah.
guy. How is it working with Jonathan?
It's the very best. He's he loves his job. He loves acting so much, and you could just the energy that comes off a guy like that who's just grooving on it so much is the best thing ever.
Nice.
It powers the whole scene and the whole day, and he's a crazy pro too.
Yeah.
But it's just the joy that he emits when he's got a role like this.
That
You
little
know, he knows he
eyebrow.
gets to do a moment like that right there.
Yeah. I love this. Good use of deep
did
purple
this
here.
good.
Purple.
Yes.
What a nice way to close out
Thank
the
you for
season.
getting us deep purple.
Yeah,
Oh.
thank you, Thomas.
So
Yes.
fun.
How'd you get that?
We asked and we threw money at them.
I'm suspecting money changed hands. I love this last shot here.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Almost didn't make it.
It's filled with deep hidden meaning.
Well, that was
Yeah.
that is a great one. Great end
Sweet
of the
deal.
season.
Well done, Peter.
Well done,
Well,
Bob.
thank you. Yeah, you guys.
Vince, good
so
job.
fun.
The whole
Everybody
season.
brought it.
And,
And thank you, Anna. Thank you, Anna Ramey.
Thank
you. AD, who took me through this
Got you through it.
Yeah, it's great.
Absolutely.
Coming back soon.
Quietest AD ever,
Yes,
right?
She's amazing.
Somehow it gets done.
absolutely. Magic.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.